The young Terran arrived on the alien world. He was small and weak. The ground shook under the feet of the giants around him. He looked around with wide eyes. The sky was red and heavy. Strange sounds came from the forest. He took a step forward. He wanted to survive. He wanted to learn. But the aliens noticed him. They laughed. The laughter was loud. It echoed in the valley. The Terran felt small. They mocked his clothes. They mocked his size. They mocked his voice. They called him weak and useless. He tried to hide. He tried to stay quiet. But the laughter grew louder. He felt a cold fear. He wanted to disappear. He wanted to run. But he could not move. He could not escape. He was trapped. The aliens circled him. They pointed at him. They shouted words he did not understand. But their meaning was clear. They wanted him to feel pain. They wanted him to feel fear. The Terran clenched his fists. His hands shook. His heart beat fast. He wanted to fight, but he was too small. He was too weak. He had no weapons. He had no friends. He was alone. The aliens were strong. Their muscles were huge. Their eyes glowed red. They were faster than him. They were smarter than him. He could not win. The Terran dropped to his knees. He thought about giving up. He thought about leaving the planet. He thought about dying. But then he saw something. A small piece of metal on the ground. It was shiny. It was strange. He picked it up. It felt heavy in his hand. It hummed with energy. He did not know what it was. He did not know what it could do. But he felt hope. Maybe this small thing could help him. Maybe he could survive. Maybe he could fight back. He looked at the aliens. They were still laughing. They did not notice the metal. They did not know he had found it. The Terran smiled slightly. He felt a spark of courage. He would not give up. He would not be weak. He would learn. He would grow. The aliens started moving closer. They wanted to touch him. They wanted to hurt him. The Terran held the metal tightly. He felt its power inside him. A small light shone from it. The aliens saw the light. Their laughter stopped. They looked at him with confusion. The Terran took a deep breath. He felt strong. He felt ready. He did not know how, but he knew he could change something. He stepped forward. His feet did not shake. His hands were steady. The aliens stared at him. They did not know what was coming. They had never seen a Terran do this before. The young Terran raised a metal in his hand. It glowed brighter. Sparks flew from it. The air crackled with energy. The aliens stepped back. Fear appeared in their eyes. The Terran smiled. He did not know what would happen next. He only knew he had found a way to fight. He had found hope. He had found strength. The aliens looked at each other. They whispered in their language. The Terran did not understand, but he knew they were scared. He felt proud. He felt alive. He took another step. The ground shook under him. The aliens were still unsure. The Terran kept moving forward. The metal hummed. The light grew stronger. He felt it in his chest. He felt it in his hands. He felt it in his mind. He did not know what it would do. He did not care. He was ready. Suddenly a voice shouted from behind him. Another Terran had arrived. They were watching him. They had seen the aliens mock him. They had seen him find the metal. They had seen the sparks. They were impressed. The young Terran turned. The other Terran nodded. They understood. Together they could do something. The young Terran smiled again. He felt a new strength. The aliens were still confused. They did not understand a Terran at all. They had never seen this before. They had never faced a Terran like him. The young Terran lifted the metal higher. The light shone across the valley. The aliens stepped back. Fear filled their eyes. The young Terran felt hope rise inside him. He felt the power of the metal. He felt that maybe he could survive this world. Maybe he could grow stronger. Maybe he could fight back. He looked at the aliens. They were still watching him. Their eyes were wide. Their mouths were open. They did not move. The young Terran took another step. He felt ready for anything. The aliens were silent. They could not believe what they were seeing. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt ready. He had found something important. Something that could change everything. The aliens still did not understand. They still thought he was weak. But the young Terran knew better. He felt the power inside him. He felt hope. He felt courage. He felt ready. The aliens stared at him. The young Terran took one more step. The light from the metal grew brighter. Sparks flew around him. The aliens backed away. They whispered to each other. They did not know what to do. The young Terran smiled. He was ready. He was not weak. He was not afraid. He had found something that could change everything. And he was not done yet. The aliens still did not understand. The young Terran raised the metal higher. The light shone across the land. He felt ready to face anything. He felt ready to survive. He felt ready to fight. And something in him knew this was only the beginning. Something big was coming. Something that would shock everyone. And the young Terran was ready for it. The young Terran felt the metal humming in his hand. He could feel energy flowing through his body. He did not know what it could do. He only knew it was powerful. The aliens were still staring at him. They did not understand. They had never seen anything like this before. The young Terran stepped forward carefully. He watched their reactions. They moved slowly. They whispered to each other. He did not understand their words, but he felt their fear. He smiled slightly. He had never felt so strong. He wanted to see what the metal could do. He lifted it again. Sparks flew from its surface. The light grew brighter. The aliens stepped back. They were afraid to come closer. The young Terran felt a strange connection. The metal seemed to respond to his thoughts. He did not know how. He did not care. He wanted to test it. He focused on the nearest alien. A small shock of energy jumped from the metal. The alien froze. Its eyes widened in shock. The young Terran had never meant to hurt it. He had only wanted to test. But he realized he could defend himself. He realized he could fight. The other aliens looked at him with fear. They had never seen a Terran like this. They had never seen someone so small hold so much power. The young Terran smiled. He felt confident. He felt ready. He wanted to explore more. He wanted to learn more. He wanted to survive. He took another step forward. The aliens moved backward. They did not know what to do. The young Terran's heart beat fast. He felt alive. He felt hope. Suddenly, he heard a loud sound. A huge shadow appeared above him. He looked up. A massive alien ship hovered in the sky. Its engines glowed bright. The wind from the engines blew around him. The aliens on the ground gasped. The young Terran felt fear again, but he held the metal tightly. He would not run. He would not hide. He would face this challenge. A hatch opened on the ship. A figure stepped out. The deadliest warrior of the planet. He was huge. His armor shone under the red sky. His eyes glowed bright. He looked at the young Terran. He spoke in a language the Terran did not understand, but his meaning was clear. He wanted to fight. He wanted to test him. He wanted to see what he was capable of. The young Terran's hand shook. He felt fear, but he remembered the metal. He remembered the power. He took a deep breath. He would not give up. He would not be weak. The warrior stepped down from the ship. His boots hit the ground with a loud sound. The young Terran took another step forward. He felt the energy of the metal in his hand. The warrior stopped and looked carefully. He had never faced a Terran like this before. The young Terran felt something strange. He felt respect from the warrior. He did not understand it, but he felt it. The warrior raised his weapon. The young Terran tightened his grip on the metal. Sparks flew again. The aliens around them stepped back. They wanted to see what would happen. They had never seen a fight like this before. The young Terran felt his heart beat fast. He was scared, but he was ready. He wanted to show the warrior that he was not weak. He wanted to survive. He wanted to grow. The warrior took another step forward. The young Terran raised the metal higher. The light shone across the ground. He felt the energy flow through his body. He felt strong. He felt alive. The warrior swung his weapon. The young Terran jumped aside. Sparks flew as the metal deflected the strike. The warrior's eyes widened. He had never expected this. The young Terran felt hope rise inside him. He realized he could fight back. He realized he could survive. The warrior struck again. The young Terran dodged. The aliens gasped. They had never seen a Terran move like this. The young Terran smiled slightly. He was learning. He was growing. He was not weak. He would not be weak. The The warrior paused. He looked at the young Terran carefully. He had never seen a Terran like this before. He felt something he had never felt. Respect. The young Terran felt it too. He felt the warrior's gaze on him. He did not back down. He stood tall. The aliens whispered among themselves. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran face the deadliest warrior. The young Terran felt the metal humming stronger. He felt ready for anything. He felt alive. He knew he could survive. He knew he could fight. He knew he could grow. The warrior stepped back slowly. He lowered his weapon slightly. The young Terran's heart beat fast. He did not know what would happen next, but he felt hope. He had faced the deadliest warrior. He had survived. He had not given up. The aliens looked at him with fear. They had never seen a Terran like this. The young Terran smiled. He felt ready. He felt alive. He felt power in his hands. He felt the energy of the metal flowing through him. He did not know what it would do next. He only knew he was ready. Something was about to happen. Something big. Something that would change everything. And the young Terran was ready to face it. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal flow through his body. He had survived the deadliest warrior's first attack. He felt stronger than before. The aliens on the ground whispered among themselves. They were confused. They had never seen a Terran move like this. The warrior stepped back. He watched the young Terran carefully. His eyes were wide. He did not understand this Terran at all. The young Terran took a deep breath. He wanted to test his power. He wanted to see what he could really do. He focused on the ground. The metal glowed brighter. Sparks flew around him. He felt the energy in his hands. He felt the power in his mind. He lifted his hand. A wave of light shot forward. It hit a rock near the aliens. The rock exploded into pieces. Dust and small stones flew in all directions. The aliens gasped. They had never seen a Terran control energy like this. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt confident. He felt ready. The warrior's eyes narrowed. He took a step forward. He wanted to strike again. The young Terran did not move. He focused on the metal. He felt its power grow. He felt it inside his chest. He felt it in his hands. The warrior swung his weapon. The young Terran dodged quickly. Sparks flew as the metal deflected the strike. The aliens gasped. They could not believe what they were seeing. The young Terran realized something. He realized the warrior was testing him. He realized the warrior wanted to see his true strength. He smiled slightly. He would show him. He would not give up. He would not be weak. The warrior attacked again. This time the young Terran used the metal to block. The weapon clashed with energy. Sparks flew high into the sky. The aliens stepped back. They whispered to each other. They were scared. The young Terran felt a strange power inside him. The metal seemed alive. It reacted to his thoughts. It helped him move faster. It helped him dodge. It helped him fight. The warrior swung his weapon harder. The young Terran jumped to the side. He felt the energy surge. He struck a small rock. It exploded. Dust covered the ground. The aliens gasped again. The warrior stopped. He looked at the young Terran. He had never seen a Terran move like this. He had never seen someone so small control so much power. The young Terran felt proud. He realized he was not weak. He realized he could survive. He realized he could fight. The warrior stepped closer. He raised his weapon again. The young Terran held the metal tightly. Sparks flew around them. The aliens watched silently. They were afraid. The young Terran focused on the warrior. He did not want to hurt him. He wanted to show his strength. He wanted to survive. The warrior attacked. The young Terran blocked. Sparks flew. He dodged quickly. He moved with the energy of the metal. He felt fast. He felt alive. The warrior paused. He looked carefully. He had never seen a Terran like this. He felt something strange. Respect. The young Terran noticed it. He smiled slightly. He felt proud. He had earned respect from the deadliest warrior. He realized he could do more. He realized he could survive this world. He realized he could grow stronger. The warrior lowered his weapon slightly. The aliens whispered. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran like this. The young Terran felt a spark of hope. He wanted to explore more. He wanted to fight more. He wanted to survive. He looked at the warrior. The warrior looked back. Something passed between them. The warrior paused. He did not attack again. He watched silently. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal in his hands. He felt ready. He felt alive. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had fought back. He had not given up. He had not been weak. The aliens were quiet. They were confused. They had never seen a Terran like this before. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt strong. He felt alive. He felt ready for anything. The warrior took a step back. He lowered his weapon completely. The young Terran's heart beat fast. He did not know what would happen next, but he knew something was changing. The warrior had stopped. He had not attacked. He had paused. The young Terran realized something. The warrior might respect him. The warrior might not be an enemy. The aliens were still watching. They did not understand. They had never seen this before. The young Terran lifted the metal higher. Sparks flew around him. He felt ready for anything. He felt alive. He had survived the fight. He had learned. He had grown. And something in him knew this was only the beginning. Something bigger was coming. Something that would shock everyone. And the young Terran was ready for it. The young Terran stood tall. The metal in his hand glowed brightly. The deadliest warrior watched him silently. He did not move. The aliens around them whispered. They could not believe what was happening. They had never seen a Terran survive a fight like this. They had never seen the warrior hesitate. The young Terran felt his heart beat fast. He had never faced such a powerful being. He had never been in this much danger. But he did not feel fear. He felt power. He felt hope. He knew he could survive. He knew he could fight. He knew he could grow stronger. The warrior stepped closer slowly. The young Terran raised the metal higher. Sparks flew around them. The aliens stepped back. They did not want to be near them. The warrior circled him carefully. He studied the young Terran. His eyes were sharp. He was looking for weakness. The young Terran felt his muscles tense. He felt the metal hum in his hands. He did not move. He waited. The warrior lunged suddenly. His weapon swung through the air. The young Terran jumped aside. Sparks flew as the metal clashed with the weapon. The aliens gasped. They had never seen such a fight. The young Terran used the energy of the metal. He dodged every strike. He blocked every attack. He felt fast. He felt strong. The warrior paused. He could not believe it. A small Terran had survived his attacks. He had blocked every strike. He had dodged every blow. He felt respect growing inside him. The young Terran felt it too. He felt the warrior's gaze on him. He did not look away. He stood his ground. The warrior swung again. The young Terran blocked. Sparks flew high into the air. The aliens gasped again. They whispered among themselves. They were amazed. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt ready. He realized something. The warrior was not just strong. He was clever. He was smart. He was testing him. The young Terran focused. He moved faster. He dodged every strike. He blocked every attack. He used the energy of the metal. The warrior stepped back. He lowered his weapon slightly. The young Terran's heart beat fast. He did not know what would happen next, but he felt hope. He realized the warrior was impressed. He realized he had earned respect. The warrior circled him slowly. He did not attack. He studied him carefully. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal in his hands. He felt ready. He felt alive. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had fought. He had not given up. He had not been weak. The aliens were silent. They could not understand. They had never seen a Terran like this. The warrior stopped. He lowered his weapon completely. He looked at the young Terran. He said something in his language. The young Terran did not understand, but he felt the meaning. The warrior wanted him to know something. He wanted him to understand. He wanted to be an ally. The young Terran's eyes widened. Could this be real? Could the deadliest warrior swear loyalty to him? He did not move. He waited. The warrior stepped closer. He bowed slightly. He extended his hand. The young Terran stared. He could not believe it. The aliens gasped. They could not believe it either. The deadliest warrior was offering loyalty. He was offering respect. He was offering friendship. The young Terran took a deep breath. He reached out. He shook the warrior's hand. Sparks of energy passed between them. The aliens watched in shock. The young Terran smiled slightly. He had not expected this. He had only wanted to survive. He had only wanted to fight back. But now he had gained an ally, a powerful ally. The warrior nodded. He understood the young Terran. He would follow him. He would protect him. He would fight with him. The young Terran felt hope rise inside him. He felt strong. He felt alive. He felt ready. The aliens whispered. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran gain the loyalty of the deadliest warrior. They had never seen this happen before. The young Terran looked at the warrior. The warrior looked back. They both understood. They would face anything together. They would survive. They would grow stronger. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal in his hands. He felt ready. He felt alive. He had survived. He had fought. He had not given up. He had gained an ally. He had gained respect. And something in him knew. Bigger challenges were coming. Greater threats were waiting. The universe would not be easy, but he was ready. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. And now he had gained loyalty. He had gained power. He had gained hope. The aliens watched silently. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran like this. The young Terran raised the metal higher. Sparks flew around him. He felt alive. He felt strong. He felt ready for anything. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. Together they were unstoppable. Together they could face anything. And the young Terran knew. This was only the beginning. Something big was coming. Something that would shock the universe. And they were ready for it. The young Terran stood tall beside the deadliest warrior. The aliens around them whispered in shock. They could not believe what they were seeing. The Terran had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. Now he had gained loyalty. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt strong. He felt ready for anything. The warrior nodded beside him. They understood each other without words. Together they were powerful. Together they could face any challenge. The young Terran looked around. The aliens were still watching. They did not move. They were afraid. The Terran had changed. They had underestimated him before. They had laughed at him. Now, they knew he was different. Now they knew he was not weak. The young Terran wanted to test his new allies. He wanted to see what they could do. He signaled to the warrior. The warrior nodded. They moved silently. The Terran felt the energy of the metal in his hands. Sparks flew around him. He felt alive. He felt power. He felt ready. They approached the aliens carefully. The aliens noticed them moving. They whispered among themselves. They were scared. They had never seen the Terran act like this before. The young Terran took a deep breath. He wanted to show them he was not afraid. He wanted to show them he was clever. He wanted to show them he could survive. He raised the metal slightly. The light shone brightly. Sparks flew into the air. The aliens stepped back. They did not want to come closer. The young Terran smiled. He felt strong. He felt alive. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. And now he had allies. The warrior moved forward. He was ready to fight. The young Terran followed. They approached the alien leader. The leader was huge. His eyes glowed red. He looked angry. He had heard about the Terran. He had heard the Terran survived. He had heard the Terran gain loyalty from the deadliest warrior. He did not believe it. He wanted to see for himself. The young Terran stepped forward. He raised the metal higher. Sparks flew around him. He felt alive. He felt power. He felt ready. The leader roared. He called his warriors. They charged toward the young Terran and the deadliest warrior. The young Terran felt his heart beat fast. He felt fear, but he did not stop. He did not move back. He stood tall. The warrior stood beside him. Together they faced the oncoming army. The young Terran focused on the metal. Sparks flew around him. He felt energy flow through him. He felt fast. He felt strong. He felt alive. The warriors attacked. The young Terran dodged. He blocked strikes with the metal. Sparks flew high into the air. The deadliest warrior fought with him. Together they were unstoppable. The aliens gasped. They had never seen a Terran fight like this before. They had never seen two strong fighters like this work together. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt proud. He had earned respect. He had earned power. He had earned allies. The leader roared again. He wanted to crush the Terran. He wanted to show everyone he was stronger. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal grow stronger. He felt alive. He felt ready. He raised the metal higher. A wave of energy shot forward. It hit the alien warriors. They stumbled. They fell to the ground. Sparks flew around them. The leader's eyes widened. He could not believe it. The young Terran had survived. He had fought back. He had gained power. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. He did not attack. He only watched. He respected the Terran. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had gained loyalty. He had gained power. He had gained respect. And now he had started to gain control. The aliens whispered. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran like this. They had never seen someone so small have so much power. The young Terran stepped forward. He wanted to show them he was clever. He wanted to show them he could lead. He raised the metal again. Sparks flew into the air. The aliens stepped back. They were afraid. They had never seen this before. The young Terran looked at the deadliest warrior. The warrior nodded. They understood each other. Together they could face anything. Together they could survive. Together they could grow stronger. The leader roared again. He wanted to attack. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt ready. He had survived everything so far. He had learned. He had grown. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained power. And something in him knew bigger challenges were coming. Greater threats were waiting. The universe would not be easy, but he was ready. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had gained allies. He had gained power. And now he was ready to lead. The young Terran stood at the center of the battlefield. The deadliest warrior was beside him. Sparks flew from the metal in his hand. The aliens around them whispered. They could not believe what they were seeing. The Terran had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. Now he was leading allies. He was growing stronger. The young Terran felt alive. He felt ready. He felt power flowing through his body. He raised the metal higher. The light shone across the land. The aliens stepped back. They did not want to come closer. They had never seen a Terran like this. They had never seen someone so small hold so much power. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt proud. He had earned respect. He had earned loyalty. He had earned allies. The deadliest warrior watched him carefully. He nodded slightly. He understood. He would follow the Terran. He would protect him. He would fight with him. Together they were unstoppable. The young Terran looked at the alien leader. The leader was huge. His eyes glowed red. He was angry. He wanted to destroy the Terran. He wanted to show everyone he was stronger. The young Terran stepped forward. He raised the metal higher. Sparks flew into the air. The aliens whispered. They were afraid. The Terran's energy grew stronger. He felt alive. He felt ready. He had survived everything so far. He had grown stronger. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained respect. The leader roared and charged. The young Terran focused. He felt the energy of the metal flow through him. He moved fast. He dodged the leader's attacks. Sparks flew as the metal blocked each strike. The deadliest warrior fought beside him. Together they were unstoppable. The aliens gasped. They had never seen a Terran fight like this before. They had never seen two fighters so strong work together. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained power. He had learned. He had grown. He had started to lead. The leader struck again. The young Terran blocked. Sparks flew high into the air. He moved quickly. He dodged and struck back with the energy of the metal. The aliens watched in shock. The leader stumbled. He had never expected this. The young Terran realized something. He was no longer small and weak. He was strong. He was clever. He was alive. He had survived everything. He had grown stronger. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. He did not attack. He only watched. He respected the Terran. The young Terran raised the metal higher. Sparks flew everywhere. The aliens stepped back. They whispered. They were afraid. They had never seen a Terran like this. The leader roared one last time. The young Terran focused. He let the metal's energy flow through him. He moved faster. He struck with power. Sparks flew high into the sky. The leader fell back. He could not believe it. The young Terran had survived. He had fought. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained respect. The aliens were silent. They did not understand. They had never seen a Terran like this. The young Terran looked at the deadliest warrior. The warrior nodded. They understood. Together they could face anything. Together they could survive. Together they could grow stronger. The young Terran felt the energy of the metal in his hands. He felt alive. He felt power. He felt ready. He had survived everything. He had grown stronger. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained respect. And something in him knew. Bigger challenges were coming. Greater threats were waiting. The universe would not be easy. But he was ready. The young Terran raised the metal one last time. Sparks flew into the sky. The aliens whispered. They were afraid. They had never seen a Terran like this. They had never seen someone so small hold so much power. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt strong. He felt ready. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had gained loyalty. He had gained allies. He had gained power. And now he was rising. He was becoming a hero. He was becoming a legend. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. Together they were unstoppable. Together they could face the universe. And something in the young Terran's heart knew. This was only the beginning. Greater adventures were coming. Bigger enemies were waiting. And he would be ready for all of them. He had survived. He had grown. He had learned. He had risen. And the universe would never forget the young Terran. The young Terran looked across the horizon. His metal glowed in his hands. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. They had survived the battle. They had gained respect. They had gained allies. But the universe was not done testing them. A dark shadow moved across the sky. It was huge. It blocked the red sun. The young Terran squinted. He could see strange shapes. Alien ships. Thousands of them. He felt a chill in his chest. He had faced a leader before. He had faced the warriors before. But this was different. This was bigger, stronger, deadlier. The deadliest warrior noticed it too. He stepped closer to the Terran. His eyes glowed bright. He understood the danger. He felt fear, but he did not show it. The young Terran clenched the metal tightly. Sparks flew. He felt energy rushing through his body. He was alive. He was ready. The alien ships descended quickly. They filled the sky. Their engines roared. The ground shook. The young Terran looked at his allies. They were ready. They trusted him. They looked at him with hope. He smiled slightly. He felt proud. He had grown. He had survived. He had gained loyalty. He had gained respect. He had gained power. He had learned to fight. But this was a new test. A greater threat. He raised the metal higher. Sparks flew everywhere. The aliens on the ground whispered. They were afraid. They had never seen a Terran like this. The young Terran took a deep breath. He focused on the metal. He felt the energy flow through him. He felt strong. He felt alive. He was ready. The dark ships descended closer. The aliens began to attack the Terran's allies. The young Terran moved fast. Sparks flew as he used the metal to protect them. He dodged strikes. He blocked attacks. He struck back with energy. The deadliest warrior fought beside him. Together they were unstoppable. But the enemy was many. The young Terran realized this would not be easy. He needed a plan. He needed strategy. He looked around. He saw the terrain. He saw cliffs. He saw rocks. He saw forests. He smiled slightly. He had an idea. He signaled to his allies. They understood. They moved silently. They positioned themselves carefully. The young Terran focused. He raised the metal higher. Sparks flew high into the sky. Energy crackled around him. The alien ships paused. They did not expect this. The young Terran felt alive. He felt ready. He felt power. The deadliest warrior watched him carefully. He nodded. They understood each other. Together they could do this. The alien ships attacked again. The young Terran moved faster. He struck the ground with the metal. A wave of energy shot forward. Rocks and dust exploded into the air. Sparks flew everywhere. The enemy ships were pushed back. But more were coming. Thousands more. The young Terran realized he had to act quickly. He looked at the deadliest warrior. They nodded to each other. Together they charged. Sparks flew around them. The allies followed. They moved with speed and power. The enemy did not know what to do. The young Terran smiled slightly. He felt alive. He felt strong. He felt ready. But then a massive shadow appeared behind them. A larger ship, bigger than all the others. Its engines roared louder than thunder. The young Terran's heart beat fast. He felt fear, but he did not stop. He held the metal tightly. Sparks flew. He was alive. He was ready. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. They both stared at the enormous ship. Its size was unbelievable. Its weapons were huge. It could destroy everything in seconds. The young Terran realized this was the ultimate test. The universe was sending him a challenge greater than anything he had faced. He felt a chill. He felt fear. But he also felt power. He had survived mockery. He had survived fear. He had survived the deadliest warrior. He had gained allies. He had gained loyalty. He had gained power. And now he would face the ultimate threat. The dark ship moved closer. Energy weapons glowed on its surface. Sparks flew from the Terran's metal. He raised it high. He felt alive. He felt ready. He felt power. He would not give up. He would not run. He would not be weak. The deadliest warrior stood beside him. Together they faced the enormous ship. Sparks flew. Energy crackled. The ground shook. And something inside the young Terran knew. This battle was only the beginning. The universe had bigger tests. Greater enemies were coming, and he would be ready. But what was inside the ship? What power did it hold? The young Terran did not know. He only knew he had to survive. He had to fight. He had to protect his allies. And as the dark ship hovered above them, glowing with deadly energy, the young Terran clenched the metal tightly. Sparks flew brighter than ever. His eyes glowed with determination. He whispered to himself, "I am ready." And the universe will never forget the young Terran.